Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondomiso Vilagate alongside Zama Nzimanze, and here are your top stories. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says the Cooperative's business model is the best vehicle for supporting the low and middle income segments of the country's population to minimize the level of high poverty. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the ministry, in collaboration with the Eswatini Water and Agricultural Enterprise ISWADE, has started a 3-year project to cultivate grain crops. And again, the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says livestock farming in Eswatini is improving, such that all fresh chicken, pork and beef consumed in the country is produced locally. The news. His Majesty King Mswati III says the Kingdom of Eswatini will continue to uphold its position to strongly reject doctrines that divide the nation. His Majesty was speaking at the United States at the 256th Independence Celebration in Ezulwini, where the King was represented by His Royal Highness Prince Gcina.
The event was a demonstration of the robust diplomatic relations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the United States of America. And of course, these are diplomatic ties that have been in existence since Eswatini's independence from the United Kingdom in 1968. His Majesty's speech focused on a wide array of flashpoints that mainly centered around expressing gratitude to the government of the United States of America for the support that the U.S. has continuously extended to the Kingdom of Eswatini in various fields. The Independence Day celebration was graced by the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini, cabinet ministers and diplomats. The speech by His Majesty the King was an emphatic call that emphasized the kingdom's strong stance to avoid doctrine that defiles the unity that Eswatini have enjoyed since independence. His Majesty the King said, while citizens enjoy rights and privileges that were bestowed upon humanity by the Creator, the laws of the land must always take center stage in order to avoid conflicts that are causing untold suffering to people around the world.
While we embrace modernity as Eswatini, we will always avoid practices and teachings that threaten our cultural ethos. We strongly believe that our unity as a nation, and taking into consideration our diverse views, should not divide or create animosity amongst ourselves. Our beloved nation will always frown against any other doctrines that divide us as a people bound in unity. Both our nations believe in the creation of a free and fair environment for citizens to live in. As we have rightly indicated, Your Excellency, all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, all this should be done within the legal legislative framework. It is for this reason that all countries have laws that provide guidelines against those that break it. Your Excellency, as you are aware, the world over is calling for peace and stability because there are conflicts, wars, and acts of terrorism that are causing untold suffering to many people. These affect the peaceful dwelling environment for mankind.
His Majesty thanked the United States government for its strong support towards Eswatini's economic and social development programs. The King says the support by the U.S. government has contributed to strides that have been made by the Kingdom in its pursuit to attain United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The remarks by the United States Ambassador to Eswatini were a strong reaffirmation of the United States commitment to go full steam ahead with its programs to assist the Kingdom of Eswatini in various fields.
We value our relationship with Eswatini, which is built on mutual goals. In thinking back on the challenges we faced these past 3 years, and they've been dramatic, I'm struck by the opportunities for partnership. The COVID pandemic, climate change, the need for economic growth, they're all major challenges. And we know that whatever the challenge, working together improves our ability to surmount them and harness opportunities. We've continued to collaborate with the government and our network of partners to accomplish mutual goals. For example, this is the 17th year that Eswatini has been a partner under the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. PEPFAR has been working with government, health leaders, civil society, and others to combat HIV and AIDS in Eswatini. It's an investment in saving lives, a symbol of our friendship as nations and the generosity of the American people. When PEPFAR began work in Eswatini, fewer than 500 people were on life-saving antiretroviral therapy. Today, thanks to our partnerships, effective treatment, and a range of prevention tools, Eswatini is in a very different place. Right now, roughly 95% of HIV-positive people in Eswatini are on treatment and able to live productive, healthy lives.
On the news, I'm Sandile Makanya reporting in Ezulwini.
The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says the Cooperative's business model is the best vehicle for supporting the low and middle income segments of the country's population to minimize the level of high poverty. The Prime Minister was speaking during the Cooperative's Day commemoration held in Manzini.
The Kingdom of Eswatini joined the world in commemorating Cooperative Day under the theme Building a Better World. Speaking during the event, the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says cooperatives cuts across all sectors of the country's economy.
His Majesty King Mswati III's government recognizes that cooperatives are a better place to bring about equitable development in addition to social cohesion and continuity in communities. Cooperatives possess the institutional capability to realize government intentions for sustainable development. Since cooperatives are people-centered, not capital-centered, they do not perpetuate nor accelerate capital concentration as they distribute wealth based on members' contribution. Cooperatives cut across all sectors of the economy and are critical in the contribution of equitable incomes. Some of their activities include food production, value addition, savings mobilization, and provision of affordable, decent housing.
The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Manqoba Khumalo, says cooperatives contribute immensely to the growth of the economy of the country and must be considered as a critical partner for long term.
The amount of assets they own is really mind-blowing. I remember at the time they told me that collectively they are managing assets in excess of 3 billion emalangeni, which was really exciting. Because when you look at our economy, one of the biggest problems is that we export money outside of this country. Lokubona lama cooperatives athuthuka ndvunankhulu kuyasikhutsata kakhulu kusiniketa umdlandla lomkhulu kakhulu.
The cooperatives in the country have a membership of 81,000 with saving amounting to 1.8 billion emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News Ndomlangeni, Mbongwa Dube, Manzini.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the ministry, in collaboration with US-Eswatini Water and Agricultural Enterprise, ISWADE, has started a 3-year project to cultivate grain crops. The minister said this when giving progress on the program of leasing farms to commercial farmers.
In an effort to ensure food security in the country, government through the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced a program of leasing farms to farmers for commercial use. However, according to the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, there has been a low turnout. The minister says as a result, the ministry has engaged the Eswatini Water and Agricultural Enterprise to use some of their farms to cultivate grain crops. The minister continues to urge eMaswati to do farming as this is the only way to mitigate the situation as food prices continue to increase.
Mhlawumbe engcenye kuyasinza yini kusebenzisa liplazi kwenda ke ukuthi bangachamuki ngelizinga lebesingafisa ngalo. Kepha ke asikahlali ke singihulumende bese sibuka ukuthi bathi ke singenda kanjani ukuze lamaplazi akhone kuve asebenza. Khona ke lamanye lesibese sigcina sithuma inkampani yahulumende yaka Eswatini kokuthi ayihambe iyoenda siqiniseko ukuthi siyalima silima kudla ikakhulukati ummbila igrain ngoba sibuka lokho ukuthi uma kungathiwa kuyendeka lo mbila uyaswelakala uba mncane kufanele live lichubeke libe nembila. So sesibathumile ke baka Eswatini ukuthi kulamanye alamaplazi balime ummbila ngebunengi bendele ukuthi live lingawusweli ummbila. Nekusho ke ukuthi kodwa ke iprogram ya 3 years akusho ukuthi into lengendeka ngomnyaka munye bese sekuvele nje wonke ummbila awusakhoni soba enough. But ke siyawakhuthaza eMaswati ukuthi akalime ngoba kulima kwenda siqiniseko kunika igarantii yokuthi lelo khaya lingetela lamba.
The post-COVID-19 economic recovery plan states that the country has to increase local white maize production for an additional 40,000 metric tons. This program by government seeks to ensure that this target is met. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
And again, the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says livestock farming in Eswatini is improving such that all fresh chicken, pork and beef consumed in the country is produced locally. Mabuza says his ministry is conducting a livestock census to establish whether the population will be adequate even for future years. The minister said this when officially opening a dipping tank at a Kanyeni constituency on Thursday.
Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza says Eswatini has sufficient chicken, pork and beef supply such that all these products consumed in the country are produced locally. The minister said this when opening a dipping tank at Ekukanyeni.
Imali ke lephumile ibuya kuye hulumende kulohlelo lwaka RDF through kusebenta kwa micro projects lothunywe kuhamba phambili kubasita lama communities ibengu 257,000. Kepha ke nawo lama communities leswabonga ko labalimi labafuyi kakhulu sibonga lokho ukuthi nabo bacontributile imali letala kubo 162 ngokuthi lo msebenzi ukhona kuphumelela. Le facility bangaphindze bayisebenzise mhlawumbe kwenda ema-auction sale. Siyawakhuthaza kakhulu ke lama auction sale njengoba ngethemba nike neva nje ukuthi feedlot even asakhuphukile impela ngenombolo bekale kubo 100 and something but nyalo asangedulu kwa 200 ngoba bantu bayayiva lenzaba yama feedlot baphindze futhi bayayiva indzaba yama auction sale ngokuthi akuthi nje la bahlangane bathinze litiko li-organize bantu babuye bantu nabathengisa tilwane dabo bathengise bakhona lapho kumaximize kuthola timali letingathi tingudlwanyana.
The minister said since it is winter season, farmers should give supplements to their stock so that they can pull through to the summer season. Kukanyeni Member of Parliament Vincent Sihlongonyane thanked the ministry for its assistance.
Hulumende simbonga asicethi singemaswati sisive saseKhanyeni. Siyathi nebekunene ukuthi uma wakha likhaya adingeni kanye tindlu. Beka le ubeke leya. Nalana nje konke lesikufisile tagcina kwendekile.
Farmers were advised to sell their stock while they are still in good condition and not wait until they lose weight or value. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Nelson Wendlangamandla and Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ukanyeni.
The Royal Science and Technology Park has extended the closing date for the Matuba Army program. The Communications Officer Senzo Malaza says this extension will give students from higher institutions of learning enough time to apply for the program, which enables creators to commercialize their technologies and fosters entrepreneurship.
The Communications Officer at the Royal Science and Technology Park, Senzo Malaza, has said the Ematfuba Army applications deadline has been extended to accommodate more students from institutions of higher learning.
We've given an extension to our Matuba Army application process, mainly because we saw the need for, or rather we were responding to a request from some of the possible applicants, being students in universities and colleges around the country, to give them a bit of an extension, which is why we have extended to the 17th of this month. And we are hoping that will give them enough time to go through the Matuba Army application process, because this is a program that is mainly aimed at the university and, or rather, companies that are led by university students. And we want to try and encourage entrepreneurship amongst all programs within universities and colleges in the country. We've realized that mainly it is students that are doing business-related courses in our different institutions that usually look at forming businesses. But we are trying to encourage those that are doing other programs to also look at innovative business ideas.
Malaza says to increase reach and visibility to students, they work with relevant stakeholders. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa and Musim Konda Mbabane.
Lack of tax compliance among small-medium enterprises has prompted Small Enterprises Development Company SETCO to conduct a webinar to enhance their understanding of paying taxes. The Senior Manager Strategy, Themba Dlamini, says the small and medium enterprises need to be supported for them to be a success, hence the need for such a webinar.
The Eswatini Revenue Service has expressed concern over the non-payment of taxes by small and medium enterprises. To ensure this does not continue to happen, the Small Enterprises Development Company SETCO is conducting sessions to help them fully understand the importance of tax compliance.
We know that the issues of tax and taxation are a bit of a gray area when it comes to SMEs. They don't understand the expectations on their part. Now, as SETCO giving the mandate to develop SMEs in Eswatini, we have seen it on ourselves that we needed to educate the SMEs in terms of the requirements, their obligations in terms of paying their taxes. So we normally help these SMEs with regards to record keeping and basically doing their financial statements, annual financial statements, which is related to taxation.
SETCO has said it will seek more ways to bring sustainability in the small and medium enterprises sector. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
The court has ruled that Global Flight pays Swazi farm wholesalers over 304,000 malangeni. This money is in respect of a snake antivenom that was damaged through the negligence of Global Flight. Swazi farm wholesalers had hired Global Flight to ferry the snake antivenom from South Africa to Eswatini.
Swazi farm wholesalers hired Global Flight to ferry snake antivenom from South Africa to Eswatini. This request was made through the phone and follow-up talks were made through email. The consignment cost over 304,000 malangeni. Swazi farm wholesalers and Global Flight had agreed that the antivenom should be kept in the fridge and or at a temperature below 8 degrees Celsius. Another condition was that Global Flight had to notify Swazi farm wholesalers upon arrival with the goods in Eswatini. Global Flight failed to properly store the antivenom and also notify the plaintiff about the arrival of the goods in the country. Global Flight punched holes in Swazi farm for failing to cite the driver who brought the goods into the country. The court found that the driver has no direct or substantial interest in the outcome of the matter. The court also found that the driver could be a witness, but the substance of the matter does not concern him at all. The court then ruled that Global Flight should pay costs of exception. The matter was before Judge Bongani Sidney Dlamini. For Eswatini TV News, Temgose Mavimbela, High Court.
The chairperson of the Consumers Association, Bongani Mdluli, says the uncertainty in fuel hike globally calls for Eswatini to strengthen the petroleum sector. Mdluli says in some European countries they now use bicycles as means to cope with the rising fuel prices.
Following the press statement released by the Ministry of Natural Resources on the increase of fuel by 2.30 cents per litre, effective from the 8th of July, the chairperson of the Consumer Association, Bongani Mdluli, says government's project of installing fuel storage tanks at Phuzumoya will play a huge role in easing the pressure of surging fuel prices.
Most of the commodities that are moved from point 1 to point 2, they are moved as a result of petroleum, or rather fuel, if I may put it that way. So that is also a challenge. It is a challenge to us as a country as well to make sure that we have mitigation plans. The mitigation plans are, of course, the issue of the food security and also the issue of the storage facility. For the consumer, it is really a challenge also that in light of what is currently unfolding, it is very important that consumers actually change their spending patterns. If, for instance, you used to go to your workplace by car, you can take an alternative, maybe get a bicycle or maybe other forms of going to work, because really we all know the effect of an increase in petrol. An increase in petrol will result in price commodities being increased as well, transport fares, and almost all other sectors of the economy that are going to be affected.
The inflation report by the Central Bank of Eswatini reflects that the annual average inflation estimate for 2022 came slightly down to 4.1% from 4.2% forecasted in March 2022. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Thandukuhle Mdluli with Muva Jongwe Babane.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for your sports news tonight, the Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilakazi, has officially launched the 2022 Kings Golf Cup that returns for the first time in nearly 3 years. This tournament will be played under the theme Reconstruction of Tourism Through Sports. The winner will walk away with $500,000 Malangeni.
Kings Golf Cup has returned after nearly 3 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. The tournament that has in the past attracted national and international golfers will once again get underway this year. The Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilakazi, says it is a chance for tourism industry once again to reconstruct themselves through sports.
Sicela ke bekumene ukuthi lo msebenzi niwendisise ngoba umsebenzi lona lowethulwa ngamakhosi ngokuthiwa Kings Golf Cup lokusho ukuthi kufuna ukuthi sibe nako kokuthi siwunakekele siubambe kahle. Siyethemba ukuthi nangalelanga konke kutahamba kahle. Siyabonga kakhulu bekunene namhla ke sekuvele kunika lesikhathi sekuthi ngithi Kings Golf Cup ya 2022 lesibida ukuthi reconstruction of tourism through sports sevele siphakanyisiwe ngazilokhu semthethweni lokusho ukuthi mhla ka6 kuya ku9 sesivele ama-golfers siwabheke ukuthi onke aphelele ezulwini akwadi ukuthi ayogcugcelana. Siyabonga kakhulu bekunene.
Sam Richards, who is the tournament chairman, says this year edition will combine both sports and tourism.
Sibonile ukuthi the COVID seyinciphile manje. Uthi ngaba ukuthi ibuye umdlalo sidlale galova generally reconstruction of tourism through sports. Ngibona nje ukuthi we are promoting tourism.
Vusi Dlamini from the marketing committee explains more on the prizes of the tournament.
inombolo lengicela ukuthi live liyinake ukuthi imali lecishe itawusetshenziswa lokuqondzene negaluva ithi 1.22 million. It's 1,200,000. Lo 500,000 ingcenye minister le tawusetshenziswa but nase seyihlanganisiwe lecondzene nje nalomdlalo ngoba letinto leti tawendeka timikhakha lemithathu. Kweqala kuba nema professionals, kwesibili kube nema amateur. Bese lo nyaka ngoba eMaswati bekangakhona ukuthi abite bekuhamba laba bonzonto nzima libandla libone ukuthi kungaba kuhle ukuthi i-tournament yengonyama ibambise abantwana labatawuphumela ngaphandle bayokhangisela live sitovala lesithuba sekuthi besingakhona ukulithengisa ngendlela lesingafisa ngalo.
The tournament will tee off on the 6th of September on the Independence Day this year. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamini. Mbabane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a recap of today's headlines. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says the Cooperative's business model is the best vehicle for supporting the low and middle income segments of the country's population to minimize the level of high poverty. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the ministry, in collaboration with the Eswatini Water and Agricultural Enterprise Eastwade, has started a 3-year project to cultivate grain crops. And again, the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says livestock farming in Eswatini is improving, such that all fresh chicken, pork and beef consumed in the country is produced locally. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
At Spar, we've checked every price, counted every coin, and cut every cost to bring you Spar Super Saver Week. Get even more for your money, like 1 kg Iwisa Instant Breakfast Porridge for just $17.99 and Glen Tagless Tea Bags 100s also only $17.99. It's Super Saver Week at Spar, 4 to 10 July only. Don't miss out. Exclusive to Spar Rewards customers.
Asinifusele amaswahla amahle nalamuhla ehlelweni sive siyathuthuka kuyinjabulo lenkulu ukuthi besingaphindze sidibane nalamuhla futhi enikhombisa ke emaswati akithi ukuthi ngabe vele uhulumende wenda ini ke etindzaweni lapho kuhleli khona ke emaswati libito lami ngingiJohn kwakaPhirezi Sibongo sitawuveta njengoba ngisanichazele amaswahla amahle ukuthi ingabe vele khona intuthuko uhulumende lekayikhiphela ke imali ukuthi ke isite ke live lakithi isite ke emaswati kakhulukati ke etindzaweni leti semaphandleni la kuhleli khona ke emaswati emaswati ayati ukuthi esikhathini lesinenge siyazivakashela ke inkundla ngenkundla njengoba ke kusukela silicalile lo hlelo eminyakeni lophelile tinkundla lesistendile dibalelwa ke kuletinye etulu kwamashumi ke la25 kuya kuletinye etulu kwamashumi la27 sibuka lokuthi ngabe vele uhulumende ngimiphi ke imisebenzi kayendile ngekwehlukana abonile emaswati uhulumende akhake itikolo afaka ke bo probate emigwaqeni bengahambeki akhake nema clinic kuteke ukuthi ibe thudane kakhulu imitholampilo nalapho kuhleli khona ke emaswati umgomo wamhlabuhlangene newelive ukuthi-ke eMaswati akangahambi ke esigaba lesingetulu kwamakhilomitha lasiphohlongo ayothola-ke lesitolo tempilo nguloko uhulumende lesimbona-ke aku-implementa kakhulu-ke etinzaweni la kuhleli khona-ke eMaswati lena-ke tinkundleni sibonile-ke alekelela nabothishela ukuthi bathole-ke tindzawo tekuhlala thudani ikakhulu-kati-ke etikolweni lapho khona bokhanza ukuthi bothishela abahlali etikolweni ngoba kuyenzaba ukuthi kude-ke tindlu tekuhlala uhulumende-ke wakha-ke leto tindlu ukuze ukuthi bothishela basonzele-ke batohlala thudane nebantfwana kube lula-ke kufundzisa nema-facilities lamanyeni lekawakhako kuhulumende etikolweni tindzaba tabo-consumer science nema-laboratories siyabona hulumende-ke adakha kanti-ke tigitsigitsi letinye-ke hulumende utikhiphele-ke kusungula-ke tinhlangano tekonga nekubolekisa phecelezi ama-cooperatives lokungilokunye lesikukhuthata kakhulu njengoba lokho kusimamisa kwelekelele-ke nasetindzabeni tekwakha-ke emathuba langcono emisebenti kuphindze-ke kucetse-ke nephuya khona-ke emimangweni kanti-ke lihlelo lwanamuhla litawuthatha-ke lunyawo lolungathi lwehlukahlukile kodwa-ke ngenhloso yekugcamisa umsebenti-ke hulumende lomunye lekawende i-priority noma-ke lekawubeke-ke esigabeni sekuthi-ke awuhambe embili kakhulu njengoba Maswati ayavumelana nathi kwekuthi esikhathini lesiningi kuye kuvele-ke imibiko lebuhlungu etindzabeni kwekuthi sekunemaswati lasilimalele-ke ngekuthi kumbe beketama-ke kwewela imifula leyegcwele kumbe lamanye akasakhoni-ke emisebentini nasetikolweni kodwa-ke hulumende kulo mnyaka wanga-2020 2021 nekumnyaka wanga-2022 eluhlwini lakhe-ke lwetimali wabeke imali lengu-79 million emalangeni ukuthi-ke akhe-ke ema-suspended food bridges noma-ke emabhloho lalengake emoyeni inhloso yalamabhloho kwelekelela nekunciphisa-ke letingozi lesikhuluma ngato Maswati amahle kwekuthi akube beteke liswati lelimalako kwekuthi beletama-ke kwewela noma kumbe akasakhona emaswati kuye emisebentini etikolweni ekuchuba-ke emabhizinisi lakawendako-ke emimangweni uqalile-ke lo msebenzi njengoba-ke sikhuluma nje uhulumende sovele-ke wakhile-ke emabhloho langemashumi-ke lamathathu kutoke dotine-ke tifundza delivela kangwane ngaphandle kwenkundla noma-ke kwesifundza-ke saselibonjeni njengoba-ke cishe-ke timvula khona kuye tingabi timvula letimandla kangako noma kumbe indzawo ngekwakhiwa kwayo yaselibonjeni ayifanani nakahoho kumbe kunetindzaba nalokwa kanti-ke njengoba sikhuluma hulumende wakhe-ke emabhloho la12-ke esifundzeni-ke sakamanzini wakha-ke lasiphohlongo-ke kahoho wase wakha-ke lasiphohlongo-ke esifundzeni-ke saseshiselweni njengoba kushilo kude-ke libhloho lelakhile-ke esifundzeni saselibonjeni ngaleto tizathu sethembekele ukuthi utawuthi uphela lo msebenzi uhulumende bese kavele-ke acedzile-ke kwakha-ke emabhloho-ke shumi-ke lamane namabili sekawonke sekaphelele-ke kulelive kanti-ke lokunye lesikubonile-ke kubambisana kwenhlangano ya-microprojects lekuyinhlangano noma-ke lokuliphiko lahulumende ngaphasi-ke kwelitiko-ke letekuhlela umnotho nentuthuko lelisome-ke bozakwalo-ke emelika inhlangano leyathiwa ukuthi-ke i-engineers in action lekungiyona-ke bocwephesha ekwakheni-ke lamabhloho lalengake emoyeni ema-suspended bridges la leyathiwa ukuthi-ke i-engineers in action lekungibona-ke bati kahle lokuthi imisebenzi ngentiwa-ke kanjani bafikile-ke vele-ke la eveni lakangwane leminye-ke le misebenzi sebavele-ke bayentile ifake ekhathi-ke kwakhiwa kwawo lamabhloho lalengake emoyeni la13 noma-ke umsebenzi usachubeka azingene-ke ehlelweni Maswati amahle namhla siwabone lamabhloho njengoba-ke sijatshuliswa ngilokuthi hulumende mangabe angaveli lamabhloho kuya ungazi ukuthi kumbe akhiwa ngetihlobo letichamuka-ke lena-ke emelika njengoba-ke esikhathini lesiningi masibabona kuma-communities kube ngazi ukuthi kumbe bantu bekuhamba kodwa batowelekelela timali tona tichamuka-ke kuhulumende asesibone-ke le misebenzi noma-ke singeke siyicedze namuhla kodwa-ke sethemba ukuthi evikini lenhlako siyawubuya-ke sivakashele-ke letinye-ke tinkundla lapho
velonke sekwende impilo yabangcono kakhulu kulandzela ukuthi lesive besihlupheka kakhulu ngendzaba yokungaweleki emifuleni leyahlukahlukene yakuleli ikakhulu ngesikhathi sasehlobo hulumende ukukhanze kufanele ukuthi akhe labotebetebe lababalelwa emashumini lamathathu lo inhloso yabo lenkulu ukuthi ilethe impilo ibe ngcono kuso sive seMaswati imali la isebenzisile uhulumende ibalelwa etigidini letingu-79 million emalangeni nakuchutshwa lo msebenzi lamavela nemalunga aka-EIA lekuyi-engineers in action aye athumele bantfwana bemanyuvesi lahlukahlukene ukuthi batoba yingcinya lokuphakanyiswa nekwakhiwa kwalabotebetebe ngekusebenzisa emakhebuli tinsimbi kanye nemaplango layinguga live laseswatini nalo lizuzile kakhulu kulo msebenzi kwatise ukuthi le nhlangano yaka-engineers in action yafaka imali yathengela le live tintfo tekwakha labotebetebe nangekuthi iphindze ithumele bafundzi labenta lo msebenzi wobunjiniyela ngebunyenti babo Kulo msebenzi sive siye sicelwe ukuthi simhlangabete uhulumende ngekuthi sifake emandla aso. Sibuthe ematshe lolinani lawo singathi licishe libe ngemabhasi lasiphohlongo kanye nekuletha sihlabathi nalokunye nje kubambisana kusachutshwa lo msebenzi. Kwatise ukuthi umakhi uchamuka khona ka microprojects ngekubambisana nenhlangano yaka Engineers in Action. Umnumzane Mduduzi Mdluli lo ngulomunye wetisebenti taka microprojects. Lo ngumthuthukisi wekuchutshwa kwalomsebenzi wekwakhiwa kwalabotebetebe emimangweni. Usinika sitfombe ngabo nangekuthi live lizuza kanjani ngekusebenzisana nebaka Engineers in Action.
Maningi nalama cases alabantu lokhanza ukuthi bayasilimalela singemaswati la mifuleni. So lokwenteka konke bese siyabakhuthaza ukuthi labantu abende sicelo basiforward noma basilethe ka microprojects. Nasisuka lapho city department siyahamba sendi assessment. Assessment siyendela ukuthi sibe sure ukuthi ngoba njengoba ubona nje la lesakhiwo sidinga indzawo letingemagcuma. That's why siyibita ngekuthi suspended bridge. And ke kuyendeka vele ukhanze ukuthi letinye taletindzawo yebo kona lesidingo sikhona but lesihlobo lalesakhiwo asiphazi. Lebe sibese siyakwenda esibese sijika kulelenye department yaka engineering. La khona bakha lama steel crossings labotebetebe noma ngathi lama blowhole okhanzathi akhiwe ngetinsimbi across. Tsineke kusijabulisa kakhulu ukubona emaswati asitakala ngalolhlobo ngoba konke la sihambe khona ngidawubekisa nje sicalile edlangeni iblowhole lethu lekucala lesilakhile bayazuza kakhulu abantu ngoba sebayakhona kwewela.
Umnumzane Mdluli uveta ukuthi lo mkhankaso wahulumende wekwakha labotebetebe velonke uhlose ukuthuthukisa tekuhamba kuso sive kulandzela ukuthi imifula ngetikhathi tasehlobo iye igcwale kungahambeki. Kangangekuthi nebantfwana besikolo abayalova etikolweni ngenzaba yokungaweleki nebatali nabo balove kuya emisebentini. Umnumzane Mdluli uyaveta nekuthi elucwaningeni labo labanye bantu bagcina sebamuka nemifula etakha labotebetebe uthi kusetshenziswa tinfo letinenge kakhulu lokuthi insimbi ema-cables kanye nemaplango lathi ayinguka.
Sinele siye sikusho nasihamba sikhuluma la mimangweni ngalolu hlobo lesakhiwo siye sithi it's a lifetime structure whereby siye sibekise nga-60 years ketulu lokho ukuthi kuyawusalela titukulwane netitukulwane nanama ngicabanga ukuthi liyawuphuka ngisesekhona hawu kuyawuthatha isikhathi. Lama plango ke liplango leli akusilo liplango nje lekufulela indlu. Li-treated leli plango leli lehluke kakhulu whereby liyasimela simo makhata lilanga dimvula akusilo liplango leli ngasheshe lilimale kalula.
Umnumzane Mduduzi Mdluli uvete ukuthi labotebetebe lesebakhiwe labakhangiswako bali-15 labakhiwe ngendlela yesimanje manje. Labakhiwe etinkhundleni letahlukahlukene cishe kuto tonke tifundza takuleli letifaka ekhatsi hlokomela mjobela suspended footbridge lokulibhloho letinyawo lona lelakhiwe edlangeni lokungumphakathi longaphansi kwashifu nsuku 2. Leli bhloho lakhiwa ngemali lengu-715,000 kanti sivele sizuza kilo sibalelwa etinkulungwaneni letintathu. Lesivele singaphansi kwale nkhundla yasehukweni sithumisa kakhulu uhulumende ngokuvelana naso. Impela sithi tihlathi tivakashele tindlebe. Budze baleli bhloho bungabalelwa kumamitha lange-40 kanti lathatha tinyanga letine nje vo kuphela. Umnumzane Ncamiso uthela lobucopho edlangeni kalomahina uyasilandzisa.
Kunetindzawo kushothi kulomfula ujuba incumbi yetindzawo tentuthuko ngoma nje ngalana kwaku la ufuna bawele khona kunetitolo kunema-ground kunetiteshi ngaphandle kwelibhoko kude lebekungendeka kulabantu labangesheya uma kwaqala umfula lokwesheya kulokwesheya kude kulokhona nje kuhamba la bazokhala umfula lelibhoko lenje seliside kakhulu uma sebakhona kwewela kunyeni ngelokwendeka ngala netigayo tingakhona ngala ngesheya sobona vele bebahlele enzaweni lena nje netikolwa ke bantwana basuka khashana ukhanze ukuthi bayajika bebethe esikolweni nabe belinile kusho sebashike etifundveni ukusho ukuthi intuthuko ke bantwana sebalimala babancane ukuthi walova noma bekubhala itest awusakhona nathi shila ngeke mise itest ngetsile bantwana balofisa ukuthi kunemfula loqhwele ukuthi leli bhoko libe lisite kakhulu bakhona la emjulubela njengoba footbridge.
Indzaba lenkulu lehlupha sona sive ikakhulu lesiwela imifula lemikhulu yakuleli lefaka imbuluzi lusutfu umkhondvo kanye naleminye yindzaba yokusebenziswa kwabotebetebe lesibabadzala kakhulu lesebajike babukeka ukuthi sebangadala yona ingodi. Sive sasensingweni ngaphansi kwenkhundla lensha ingomi yahlaba Naso impela sesibonga kakhulu uhulumende wembubi ngekuthi asale akha libhloho lelikhulu kade lokwewela kulandzela ukuthi besikhathathwa ngutebetebe lebeke samtsala kakhulu. Kuyavela ukuthi lo tebetebe wakhiwa eminyakeni lenge-30 leyendlulile. Lo munye wentsha letakhamiti tasensingweni Mlungisi Thela ubonga kakhulu ngekwakhelwa leli bhloho ingome low level crossing bridge lelibite imali lengu-5.6 million emalangeni lelisakhiwa. Uthi belisidingo kakhulu kubo ngoba lo mfula imbuluzi nayigcwala igolati insethe iphindze ihambe ngetulu kwalo tebetebe walo beliwusebenzisa.
Kunona kunjalo vele intuthuko lekhona iqhubeka kwenzayo lasesingweni so libhloho serenda ukuthi kuhambeke noma sekungumthwalo lomkhulu kuhambeke malula. Asathi singabonga sinje uhulumende kakhulu ngekusukume asumsebenzini wama micro project wale misebenzi njengalena kusibusiso kakhulu vele la sensingwende siyabona ukuthi liyathuthuka sibonga na kumhlonishwa lokhona manje nalaba labe bayisebenza lenzaba labendlulile sibonga kakhulu nje kakhulu.
Gogo Gama ulagininza losakhamuti lesidzala sasensingweni lesimkhanza awela kulo tebetebe naye ubonga lona losito lokwakhelwa leli bhloho nguhulumende. Uthi yena uhamba kuwo lo tebetebe kakhulu. Ufakalise ukuthi noma emaplango awo asagugile kangangeke ukuthi noma asene kuceduka nje kude labangakwenda kwanyalo kodwa bona sebabukele libhloho ngemehlo labovu.
Umoya wami uthokota kakhulu, umoya wethu uthokota kakhulu kubona sendeleka lentuthuko lenhlena kangaka. Sesithi nje inkosi ayisisite manje kuphele shema. Ngiyasicela sive salakithi engcayini esingweni sibambisane nje sende ngoba intuthuko yalakithi akusho ukuthi kumbe kwemuntu intuthuko yakuleli village. Nathi sitofanana nebantu sithuthuka.
Buchopho bemphakathi wasensingweni umnumzane Vusi Mantshwele Dlamini ubonga uyagangatha kuhulumende ngekuthi abakhele tebetebe lesive lesingaphansi kwalenkhundla kaNgomiyahlaba. Dlamini uthi lo tebetebe semudzala kabi kodwa ukhonile kusita lesive senkhundla yakhe. Uthi bamfula abanyendi bemukile nalomfula wembuluzi. Uthi bona njengenkhundla yakaNgomiyahlaba sebabukele libhloho lelakhiwa mathutha lo tebetebe ngalabovu.
Kasi ngendlulisa nje kubonga uhulumende kulesito lasendele lona ngoba lisita yonke inkundla lisita bonke abantu ngalengesheya nangesheya Ngomiyahlaba namaphalalene singedlulisa nje kubonga lokukhulu kulendzaba yekusisita kuya kulibholo.
Lilunga lephalamende lenkhundla yakaNgomiyahlaba umhlonishwa Welcome Shongwe ubonga kakhulu uhulumende ngaleli bhloho lelakhiwa kolelisha. Uthi selitoba sisombululo senhlupheko lesive besisolo sibhekene nayo ekweweleni wona umfula imbuluzi. Umhlonishwa Shongwe uthumisa sona sivele singaphansi kwalenkhundla yakhe ngekusebenzisa lo tebetebe lathebo somdzala kakhulu futhi asayingodi. Shongwe uthi lesive sisata usebenzisa lona esikhundleni salo tebetebe naliphelako.
Siyasijabulisa sine lo msebenzi sisivesala siyinkundla futhi la ngoba uma ngabe bofuna usuka nje kulendzawo lengala kithi usuka boSigombeni boLisenga boNgcayeni na ufuna ukuthi akulamakhala ngala ufuna ukuthi uyojikela uve ukhanza ukuthi uhamba i-distance le close to 30 kilometers and naso usuka la utawukhava about 5 kilometers so kuyasijabulisa kakhulu ukuthi siyinkundla sisivesala kusinako umsebenzi uyaqhubeka so uyabonakala futhi so uya emaphetheni.
Lesive naso lesingaphansi kwenkhundla yasemaphalaleni sithi naso sesikhathatekile ngawo lo mfula lomkhulu wembuluzi kulandzela ukuthi ugcwala ungaweleki. Itolo naso besisebenzisa tebetebe nawo lesikhala ngekuthi sewugugile. Kulobo bomnyama hulumende wase uhlela ukuthi akhele ibhloho lekwewela esikhundleni salo tebetebe. Bekuvisa buhlungu kakhulu kubona abantu labadzala abathatsalata impela nabetama kuwela kuwo.
Sibonga kona mntana nami lokhu uqale ngoba evele lapha sesiwela matima. Sesikhala ngemvula nje ngoba siyabona ukuthi ngile mvula lemisile ngabe sengcese kwente kumehluko lokhanyako. Sithi ke sithandaza kuthina kumane kwehla lamandi kumane kuqhubeke mntana
ngoba kube bese liphelile gogo ngasiwela ngala lapha nje la kusegibhithe lapha thina bogogo vele siyahlupheka shem sendeleni bonkosi.
Sihlalo welikomiti lemsebenzi wekwakha leli bhloho ingomelo u-level crossing umnumzane Masoma Mahle Dlamini uthumisa kakhulu yena uhulumende ngekuvelana nesive salenkhundla yakhe ngekwakhelwa leli bhloho lelisetshenziswa esikhundleni salo tebetebe losayingodi kuso. Uthi leli bhloho libite uhulumende imali lengo-5.9 million emalangeni kanti kutozuza sive lesibalelwa etinkulungwaneni letintathu njengoba litawuhlanganisa tinkhundla letimbili lokuyinkhundla yasemaphalaleni kanye naNgomiyahlaba.
Kushokuthi nje sithi siyambonga uhulumende wengubo ukuthi asikhase bekunene ngetimali ngoba nyalo nje njengoba nibona kunadebedebe lo debedebe sovele sowusifu ngoba nalaba labahamba khona lapha hawu mawuhamba nje ebusuku uyagqumukela nekuthi sone ma cracks la khona.
Esikhathini lesiningi ngiye ngiveteke kulohlelo ukuthi tindzawo lethe emadolobheni tiye tibe naleyo nhlanhla ukuthi titfoleke setakhelwa ke takhiwo letitsite ngenhloso yokuthi emadolobha afuna ke intuthuko njengoba kutawendeka imisebenzi kalula emadolobha ke nanawo lesingakuveta ukuthi asetinkundleni ngiyawubekisa njengelidolobha laseMbabane kudzabula ke ekhathi inkundla yeMbabane West aseMbabane East kodwa ke uyukhanze ukuthi imisebenzi leminye yenziwa ke ngilabo masipala kuze ukuthi ke impilo yalesive lesikleto inkundla ibe lula indzawo lethe emaphandleni kuye kube likhunyana angakasukumi ihulumende kumbe kuyomikisa ke imisebenzi ukhanze ukuthi lesimo siba likhuni kakhulu ngathemba ukuthi amaswati ayavumelana nathi ke ehlelweni namuhla njengoba ke sibona lokho ukuthi la kumikiswe khona lama suspended footbridges noma kumbe labo tebetebe noma lama blowhole lenga ke emoyeni kusetindzaweni lapho khona vele lusito bekuyababucayi kakhulu ukuthi kumbe lugcine lufikile mangabe uhulumende ke ngekubambisana netinini ke delive neluphiko lwakhe ke lo micro projects bangakahambi bayobuka simo kuleto tindzawo boya ukhanza ukuthi ke kuyaphela ke iminyakanyaka lungakafiki lelo sito kulama bloho ke lambalo lesisawabonile ke ehlelweni kuyavela lokuthi ke sekuzuzeke tinkulungwane netinkulungwane tebantu ngoba kumbe ibloho ngalinye uyukhanza ukuthi liyabelekele labantu ke labangemakhulu ke lasiphohlonga ngelanga kusibewele sibonile kumbe lekubothuthusini kwewela ke abantu abangetulu kwemakhulu ke lasithupha ngelanga nalobuthe bawo lamabloho uyabona lokho ukuthi itolo lesimo besibucayi kakhulu kunelibloho uhulumende lekalakhile lapha lelingu-94 meters buthe balo so uyadibuda ukuthi ngabe itolo umuntu bekawela siphi mangabe belingekho leli bloho leli asiqhubeke ke sibone ke leminye ke imisebenzi kuletinye ke tindzawo lapho uhulumende amikise khona ke lamabloho.
Mdlasomi suspended footbridge libloho